The Bootsman wore bells. And I just want to say to everybody, welcome back to the Michael D. Show. I'm so glad you're here. I'm in the Beyond Publishing Studio in Bangkok, Thailand. We're based out of Frisco, Texas, and Bangkok, Thailand. Our next author, Karri Gage, your book reads like a movie. It reads like a horror movie. It's sad. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of trauma. You've been through a lot growing up in the foster care system. 5% of America's young people are in the foster care system, but you lived the nightmare. And I just want to say, welcome to the Michael D. Show. Thanks for being so brave. But what is the Bootsman Wore Bells?
The Bootsman Wore Bells was the most traumatic portion of my childhood that a lot of it was locked away and protected um, for me, remembering for many, many, many years. And now I understand why. Um, and I still have a lot of gaps in my life. There's a lot of times and ages and school times I don't remember. But the Bootsman Wore Bells was a man that was married to my biological mother. He was a Hessian motorcycle rider. The state of California returned me to my biological mother, which whom I never knew was my biological mother. And I had been in foster care for 5 or 6 years prior, and they returned me to her. And this man, to me, he's like the boogeyman. He wore boots and he had a bell on him, and you could hear him coming. And the most horrendous, torturous things, physically and emotionally, that can be done to a child was done to me. As I grew and became an adult, I noticed different scars all over my body, and I never
Mm,
knew what they were. And
mm.
as God revealed them to me after a massive heart attack in 2021 and made it clear
Where
what my
you died.
mission
You
was,
died.
I
You
did
died.
die. I did for 6 minutes.
Mm,
One more minute, I would have been brain dead. And
mm,
I was in the presence of God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
mm.
And they made it perfectly clear it wasn't my time, and I had something to do, and they had something for me.
Wow.
And that'll be in my second book. But for now, this is why I'm doing it. I had no intention.
Wow. I want you to take me back to the black trash bag. I want you to take me back to I read the chapter again today. You were raped at 10 by your brother, maybe your
Biological.
biological brother.
Yes.
Um, just a horrific scenario there where you had no support. Nobody believed you. How did do you think, and before we go into that, I want to ask you this. Do you think you have these coping mechanisms as a child? Because you said in your teen years and in your 20s, you were mad at God, you were angry. Now you're a person of faith, and I want to hear that evolution. But how do you cope when there's no food to eat, when there's nobody to talk to? It's just hard, I think, for most people to wrap their head around because you're thinking of suburban America where you can crash on somebody's couch or go grab some food out of their trash can or out of their refrigerator. But yours was a different situation.
Well, it was different because I tried all those things. I would knock on neighbors' doors and I would beg for food and I'd tell them my
Mm,
story. I would tell anybody that I could my story. I was hungry. I would
mm,
steal food. I would hoard food. I would eat strange things outside. I would do
mhm,
I would do anything I could to survive. And I think the reason is I had to. There's no other explanation. I had to do what I needed to do to survive.
mhm.
I had to. And
During the time of running across the country, the bootsman, effectively your stepfather, running from the law, you saw a man get murdered.
I did.
Just terrible situations. But then, tell me about the Whitmores.
Oh gosh, the Whitmores. Oh, that was the best home I was ever in. Um, it's the first time I felt loved, safe. I experienced things that I never knew existed. I'd never been to a restaurant. with linens, let alone um, ordering in a restaurant. I'd never, uh, so many things that they taught me. They
You
taught
had your
me.
own bathroom for the
I
first
had
time.
my own bathroom. I had my own bedroom. They bought me
You got to go to a
furniture.
furniture store and pick out your furniture.
I did. And at
Wow.
that time, I was 12, almost 13 years old. And
Wow.
so, man, and I picked out this furniture set with it that was so much younger than I. It was the typical white gold princess bedroom set. And
Mm,
I just felt like I was a princess. But the strange
yeah.
thing is I didn't sleep in it for the first several months. I would hide in the attached attic, and that's where I would sleep.
Mm, wow.
But I
Kind
don't
of
think I
like
don't think they
the
ever knew. But
yeah, yeah. Wow. You were more comfortable sleeping in an attic because you felt
yes,
like you were on the run.
yes, yeah,
Wow.
they were amazing. They were amazing, and
Did they understand that you were going through? Do foster parents get
absolutely,
some resources and help? And
yeah,
do
they
they
were
know the
amazing.
degree to which you had been surviving and abused?
Yes, they knew as much as I knew, as much as I could remember. I'm
Mm,
pretty sure the social workers, they don't share much.
yeah.
I think that they're just so desperate to get kids into homes, and um,
Hmm.
their job is difficult in itself. But they knew because I was under protective watch. When they got me, I wasn't even allowed to go to school in the same city that we lived in. I had to drive an hour and a half away to go to school for an entire year while they sorted out the legalities, and we moved. We had to
To
move.
protect you, to protect you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So tell me about the faith journey and receiving healing grace and just having an understanding of God's redemption and understanding that this was not his plan for you, that his heart was broken when you every time you cried and every time you hid.
Well, when I reflect back, it's difficult for me to reflect back and write the memories that are being brought to me,
Mm-hmm.
because now I love God with all my heart. He is my
Mm,
life, He is my world.
mm-hmm.
And you'll see it in my writing because I knew He wasn't there as a child, but me sitting before you, He was always in the dark. Now I
Mm,
know that.
yeah.
And I wasn't saved until I was 25, and I was married to my children's father. And I had just had my son, and there was a spiritual warfare going on. He was trying to destroy my marriage. And my husband had just become saved. He had been going to men's study groups at school. He was a teacher, and he kept
Oh,
trying
wow.
to get me to go to church, Harvest Christian Church in Riverside, California, with Greg Laurie. And I was adamant I was not going there. I hate God. He knew I hated God. There's no God. And finally, he convinced me this one Sunday. The kids were being monsters. I had two kids in diapers, and Satan was doing everything to keep me from getting in that car, newborn baby. And finally, we get in the car, we go to Harvest Christian Church in Riverside, and as God or fate would have it, we get in a pew, and I'm right in the middle of a pew, and the pew is packed, and the pews
Can't
are
get out.
long. Can't get out.
You wanted to get out.
And the entire time I kept telling my husband, John, I was like, I don't want to be here. Let's go. The baby's crying. He's new. I don't want them to touch him. I just, let's go get my baby. And Greg
Mm,
Laurie was preaching, and I'll never forget it. To me, he was preaching hellfire. All I heard was revelation, and I'm a sinner, and I'm going to hell, and but God loves you. But I heard hellfire preach. I couldn't get out of the pew. I'm crying hysterically. I can't move. I'm paralyzed. So after the sermon, back then, great glory, the church was not as large and hadn't grown to what it is today, to the glory of God. And he would stand at the door. My husband and I walk out, and my husband had said nothing to me. He knew, he could see what was happening. And I shook Greg's hand, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, I have questions for you. I need to talk to you. I have a lot of questions. And he could see I was just hysterically crying. And he grabbed me and he said, "Come to my home for dinner." And we did. And we sat down and I told him a little bit of what I could remember of my childhood and how I hated God. And how do you know there's a God? There's no God. I never
Mm,
saw God, never heard God.
mm.
And he walked me through uh, John 3:16 and how God died for me and that I was a sinner and I was going to go to hell. And God was always there because I'm a testimony because I was still here. And he had a plan for my life. And
That's
I
right.
accepted Jesus
That's
Christ
right.
that day
Was it, was that, that's outstanding. Was that the first time you heard the gospel?
that I remembered, yes. But
Mm-hmm.
there was a
Mm-hmm.
seed planted one
Mm-hmm.
time when I was in foster care. And I didn't remember it
Mm.
until I was saved.
Wow.
Um, there was a little white school bus that one of the foster homes would shove all of us kids on to get rid of us on Sunday, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they would drive in front of the house and pick us all up. And
Mm.
I was just excited to go because they had food and cookies and snacks on the bus on the way there and on the way back and snacks at church. And so I got food. I was excited. But the mustard seed was planted
Yeah. Of
at
God's love.
at that church in God's love.
You are
But I
special.
never knew it. I never
Wow.
knew it.
Nobody ever told you that God made you, God love you, God has a plan for your life.
No,
But you learned that at 25.
I
Now,
did.
you told me something interesting. You took a DNA test for your daughter, and
I
that's when
did.
the memories started coming back. Tell me about that.
Well, my daughter in 2017 was getting ready to have a baby, Savannah, my first granddaughter. And her father also was adopted. He came from a very prominent family. And he did a DNA test because he was having health issues about 3 or 4 years prior to me. So they had no medical history. And at the time I did it, I was having a little blood pressure problems. And I was young. I was 50 at the time. And my cardiologist that I had to see because it was so high said, "There's something going on here. There's something more genetic, you know." And with my daughter asking me to do it, and I didn't want to do it. I resisted and said no. I didn't want to open up that Pandora box. I wasn't sure what it all entailed, but I did it. I did it through ancestry.com and I did it through 23andMe.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, I actually got an email from Ancestry this morning. When you do that, all of a sudden you get all these matches, possible matches, whether it's first of kin, next of kin, second cousin, first cousin, and all the things pop. And all of a sudden, all these people popped with my birth name, my same last name.
Mm.
And a few of them, I was like, I know that name. Oh my goodness, I know these names. And then And there was a lot of them. It turns out I am one of 10 children. I have 9 other brothers.
Wow.
One died of a massive heart attack. Um, it opened up a massive Pandora box. I have still not contacted all of them. I have had contact with a few, step and biological. Um, and once I received whatever I needed to receive, I really didn't hold on to those relationships. And I don't think they wanted to either. There's he only raised, my biological father only raised 3 of the 10 children. The rest of us were
Wow.
abandoned.
Tell me about the finding your identity in Christ. How important has that been for you as a grandmother?
It's everything. It's the rock that I stand on. And I am so proud of my grandchildren and the things that I can teach them and the things that I can instill in them to be grateful. And all things come from God. All things, even when something bad happens, give great glory and thank God because there's a reason. And don't let anything tell you any different. You are a child of God.
Yes.
And the world tells us something different today. And Satan's at work. Satan is
Yeah.
at work every minute, every day.
He's constantly whispering lies into people's heads.
He
And
is.
I would imagine that negative programming you had as a child, where you were always running, you were always nobody listening to you, validating you, holding you, talking to you, how asking you how your day was. You didn't have a childhood. How do you grieve losing a childhood when you're 25, all of a sudden you find Jesus and you're married and having your own babies? How do you recover that lost childhood?
I never have. I've never been a child.
Hmm.
When somebody asked me recently, what was your passion as a child? And I hesitated and I'm like, to survive.
Yeah.
I didn't have a passion, but if you ask my granddaughters, they barrel race. Horses, Mimi, horses, they have
Yeah.
a passion.
Yeah.
My passion was to survive.
On the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you were a survivor.
Yes,
And you're not a statistic because you should be dead.
yes. Or
We could
worse.
yeah, yeah, or worse. We could run the numbers on the actuary, but I don't think the lifespan of a foster child is congruent with normal populations. Let me ask you this, because book one is up until you're emancipated, and give
Yes,
us a peek into book two and book three, because when we were strategizing and talking, and you reach out to us, you said there's three books here, and you said your heart was really for the foster child who's now an adult. You said your heart is really for the foster family that's taking care of foster kids, and your heart is really for that person that feels called to be a social worker, because they're not all bad. I mean, there's a lot of bad people in the system, but like you said,
yes,
they've got to do their numbers and they have limited, and if they don't have any spiritual understanding, it's just a job, right?
yes,
Um, but your books are really making an impact, and no doubt, I know somebody's working on an endorsement from a very powerful it would be a celebrity endorsement, one of the biggest in the
yes.
world. Hopefully, we can name drop that soon. But tell us about the other two books coming.
Well, the other two books um, goes from when I was 15 and a half years old. So the first book ends with me being emancipated. Um, and from there, it goes into how did a 15 and a half year old that was just magically, by the grace of God at that moment, become an adult. And I wasn't left in the system to age out. Um, Talk about survival. There is no way I was prepared for
So
the
do you go to the
world.
grocery store when you're 15 and a half and you've got your little food stamps card there and you're doing
I
your
didn't
own?
have food stamps. I had
What do
no
they do?
support. I had no support.
You're not getting welfare from the state of
No,
California?
they cut me off.
So they're
I
expecting
am
you
no,
to go get a job and become a taxpayer and support you
yes,
paying for an apartment and
yes,
everything?
I was already working. I'd been working since I was 13 years old. By the time I was 50, I had enough Social Security credits. I had all 40 credits I could have drew right then. It's near to impossible at that age for somebody to accomplish that. I have never drawn
Incredible.
anything my entire life. Emancipated,
You
you
had
do.
no childhood. You had no teen years. You didn't go play softball with your girlfriends. You didn't go on cheerleading trips and lake trips and those kind of things. It was
No,
survival.
I didn't get a yearbook. I didn't get a class ring. I didn't get to graduate
No
with cap and
prom.
gown, but I did graduate. No, none of those things. So,
Mm-mm.
yes, I worked. I went to high school. I went to community college. By the time I was 16, I had a certified nursing assistant license. I was working in a convalescent home. I rode the bus. I had a bus pass. I didn't even know how to
Yeah.
get a bus pass. How do you get a bus pass? I didn't know. Checking account? I couldn't get a driver's license because
Nobody has smartphones back then.
there was
You had to
nothing.
figure everything out on your own.
There was nothing. I had no mentors. I had no friends. I didn't know how to make a friend. I didn't know how to be a friend.
That's
Um,
crazy. That's crazy. I had no idea. This takes on a whole new thing. So just sheer determination, jungle survival instincts. You're out there shopping for apartments. You're trying to do a budget. You're counting your pennies and your quarters to
yes,
make it to the end of the month.
yes.
Oh my goodness. But
And once
look at you.
again,
Look at you. You've done okay.
by the grace of God. And once again, I
Wow.
had to.
Wow.
There was nowhere where else to turn. Had to.
Hmm. What do you want to say to that kid that's maybe 30-year-old alcoholic and hadn't got over the anger of having to go from house to house with that black trash bag? Maybe he's been sexually abused, maybe just has been kicked to the side and never validated or just given an opportunity. Nobody's ever asked, how was your day?
Yes, to that kid, hang on tight. God is there. God hears you. He created you. He loves you. And what you have seen, what you have experienced, is not his plan for you.
Hmm.
Seek God first, and all things shall come. Pray,
Hmm.
and he will give it to you. He will overcome that mountain. I promise you. Find a church. Go into a church. Ask
Yes.
somebody. Tell somebody.
Yes. Ask for help. Ask for help. Go to a Bible believing church. Go somewhere where they
Yes,
don't kick you out if you haven't
yes,
had a shower, and go somewhere where they won't judge you, but they'll put their arms around you. And like Pastor Greg said, come to my house for dinner. What
yes,
pastor does that? Oh my
yes.
goodness, that is incredible. There are people that love you, there are people that care about you. The most important thing is that you love and care about yourself, and that you realize you can flip the script. You were put as an A-list actor in the movie of your life, and if you don't like this reality show you're in, you can flip the script. And that's what you did, Carrie. You flipped the script. You said, I'm going to get emancipated. You could have stayed in the system, but you said, I'm going to do it on my own. You
Yes.
had you had been self-parenting for a long time, and you just decided to make it official. So, well, congratulations. Your book, the Bootsman Wore Bells, is available everywhere books are sold, not only on Amazon, but Walmart.com, Target.com, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million. And I tell you, the reviews, the feedback has been incredible. This is the type of book that becomes a movie. This is the type of book that inspires millions. And there's somebody in your life, you can change their life. And look around, find people that are struggling, find a young person that's having trouble connecting with their future, and lend a helping hand, ask questions. And if you're in that situation, ask for help, like Carrie said. So the book's available everywhere books are sold. Carrie is available for speaking, podcasts, media interviews, and stages. And I can just see, Carrie, a lot of women. You're going to be helping a lot of women. You are helping a lot of women. And depending on when you see this video, you can grab it for a special promotion we're doing right now: the hardcover, the paperback, the ebook, or the audiobook. And you're going to want to share this with friends, particularly going into the holidays. This is a book you're going to want to buy an entire case for your reading group, for your church group, for your sorority, for your bowling club, or for your bridge club, because this is a book you're going to want to talk about. This is a book you're going to want to return to, and it's a book that you're going to want to share. And so, Carrie, what's the final thought you want to leave with a listener that may have just met you?
I am beyond grateful for God, my Father. I am beyond grateful that He has always been with me. And for those that are in the system or those that run the system, and I call it the system because it's a broken system, I hope it brings awareness, as much awareness and glory to God. And I hope that people will start looking and being more aware about foster children because nobody talks about them. They're lost. They have no voice. Nobody even knows about them. Where are they? What happens to them? What's going on with them?
Yeah.
And I pray that it will give as much awareness as we have for rescuing animals and dogs. We know more about that than we do our own lost children in this country.
The Bootsman Wore Bells. Grab it today, share it with somebody, change a life, start a discussion, and that is the beginning of making a positive impact in the world. The forgotten foster kids. I think that's a very powerful concept, and I think if you're a foster parent, or if you're praying about foster parenting, you want to talk to Carrie, read her book, learn more. There are support groups you can join, and there are groups that you can connect with that can help you take the next step. And so, Carrie, thanks for being with us on the Michael D. Show, where we interview amazing authors from around the world. We're right here in Bangkok, and we've invited you and Robert to come speak at the Bangkok Bangkok Book Show in April. 1.5 million people coming here to Bangkok to learn more about you and learn more about your book and your platform and your movement, because really that's what this is. You're creating a movement with this book. So congratulations.
Thank
It's a
you.
great book. It's a great read, and everybody should grab it now for the holidays and then stock up going into the new year and share it with people that you know need an encouraging word. Thanks, Karri, for being on the Michael D. Show.
Michael, thank you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do.
Can't wait. We're excited.
Thank you.